We continue to get ready for training camp. We're finally at the safety position. John Schmelk, joined by Lance Meadow, as we take a look at the Giants position by position, getting ready for the 2020 season. Lance, the safety position is a young one for the New York Football Giants with a lot of talent. The one returning player that has played a lot at safety in his career is Jabrill Peppers, and it's telling that the veteran in the group has only played 3 years heading into his fourth.
Yeah, which just goes to show you the youth movement at this position, John, as you just mentioned. But with youth comes the land of the unknown, but also a lot of upside and potential. So I think that's what makes this position group extremely intriguing. Peppers was acquired in that mega deal with Cleveland. So he's somebody that already has some familiarity with the Giants organization. And then everybody around him is really either a combination of somebody that showed some flashes last year, John, or somebody that was just drafted this year that could really step in and be that key complementary piece.
No question about it. And for Peppers, he played close to the line of scrimmage last year. His year was cut short by injury, by the way. He had a back injury that made him miss that last month of the year. Played deep, but he's a tackling machine, Lance. He's physical. If you get him near the line of scrimmage, he's going to make some plays for you.
Yeah, he doesn't shy away from physicality and getting down and dirty with the opposition. There's no doubt about that. But they're going to be able to probably mix and match him, as you alluded to, because of his ability to play both down at the line of scrimmage, John, and also be that center fielder deep guy, depending on, of course, what Xavier McKinney brings to the table, because we know that he was Mr. Versatility at Alabama. But they need that anchor in the safety position. They also, John, because of the youth movement, they need that vocal leader. And that, I don't think, should be overlooked when it comes to Jabrill Peppers, because somebody in the film room, somebody in that positional group room that's not afraid to talk up, that's not afraid to set the tone for the rest of the guys. And I think that's extremely appealing for somebody like Jabrill Peppers. Yes, it's a new scheme for him, but he's been in that NFL environment for the last few seasons. And that's something that sometimes does not get brought into the conversation.
Yeah, and you mentioned Xavier McKinney. He'll have a chance to compete for one of those starting safety spots. And you call him Mr. Versatility, right on the money. He played deep in college, close to the line of scrimmage as a quasi-linebacker, and he played slot cornerback. So he's a chess piece for Patrick Graham, Lance, that he can use all over the field and use to disguise some of the defenses he's trying to put out there.
Well, it's interesting, John, because leading up to the draft, we talked a lot about Isaiah Simmons, the versatile linebacker out of Clemson, who was eventually drafted by the Cardinals. The Giants may have wind up getting McKinney with respect to Simmons in terms of his skill set when you look at the makeup of what he brings to the table. So, that could be a blessing in disguise. You're right. They can move him around. Nick Saban speaks volumes of what McKinney brought to the table because of how they were able to move him down at the line of scrimmage, play back. He was a guy that had the interceptions. He was a guy that made the tackles. And I think when you look at what Patrick Graham utilized in Miami and with his days in New England, he will welcome somebody that he doesn't have to keep in one spot and he doesn't have to box in, because then he could tap into the strengths of the rest of the positional group. So I think that is the key for McKinney. Where is he going to be comfortable and how much can they put on his plate as a rookie? That's going to tell a lot about where this defense could go.
And when he was drafted, Dave Gettleman mentioned in that post-draft conference call, press conference, whatever you want to call it, that the reason they really liked him was his ability to cover deep. So I think by default, you'll see him probably most as the deep center fielder. But as you mentioned, you can move him all over the field. And that's another guy that's similar is Julian Love. We talked about him when we did the cornerbacks, because maybe he'll play slot, maybe he'll play outside, who knows. But last year, he subbed for Jabrill Peppers, played close to the line of scrimmage the last month of the year, did well. But obviously, as a former cornerback from Notre Dame, a draft pick last year for the Giants, a fourth-round pick, he's a guy that has the skills to play deep as well.
Yeah, Julian Love was similar to O'Shane Ximenez because he was a guy that flashed late last season, John, because that's when all of a sudden his playing time increased. But here's that versatility theme that we're talking about once again. He's more than comfortable lining up as a safety. He's more than comfortable lining up perhaps as a slot corner. And here's the other thing, John. Maybe Patrick Graham utilizes 3 safeties more often than not. And that's more of a reason that you want to have 3 reliable options that you could put on the field. Because remember, John, it's not just about matching up with wide receivers. It's not just about stopping the run. It's about covering the tight end. And while we focus a lot on linebackers, John, let's also not forget, sometimes you're going to line up a safety with a tight end, especially that versatile, elusive tight end. And we know there's a lot of them in this division. There's a lot of them across the NFL. And that's an area that the Giants certainly want to improve upon. So here's where Peppers, McKinney, and Love, who we just talked about, all come into play within that equation.
No question about it. We should mention Nate Ebner here, Lance. He is a free agent addition from the Patriots. You're probably not going to see a ton of him on defense, but he is a special teams demon.
And leadership comes to mind too, plus his familiarity with Joe Judge. That's why he's such an attractive option. Remember, John, the Giants lost Michael Thomas, who was a key piece to the special teams unit. He just signed with the Houston Texans, so they need somebody to fill in. And I'm not just talking about productivity on special teams, as you mentioned. I'm talking about that veteran presence, which he assumed in New England. And Ebner does have some reps on the defensive side of the ball. We've had multiple conversations with Ebner this offseason. He was asked multiple times, do you want to play more on defense? Of course his answer, John, is going to be yes. So you know he's not going to shy away from that. But he's also somebody that is more than comfortable taking on a role that the coaching staff asks him to do. And whether it's special teams, check mark, if it's defense, he could be that insurance policy, that security blanket on the deep side of his defense.
No question about it. We look forward to seeing it. And two other guys, by the way, Sean Chandler, a returning player, Rashawn Golden is someone the Giants added as well, could compete for one of those safety spots on this roster. Lance, always fun. Looking forward to camp.
Absolutely. Me as well.